Hello, this is Levi Wampler with MMAStrikingCoach.com. Today we're speaking with Brad Evans of CoreBag.com. And I got to tell you, over the years I've seen a lot of different ways to adjust, say, a heavy bag or a speed bag to get a little bit more of a workout with it. One of my favorites was taking a heavy bag and you hooked a speed bag up to a bungee cord and hooked it to the top so it swung around and hit you as you're hitting the heavy bag. And when I discovered this CoreBag.com, if you go to their site and you look at it and you see the product, it blows that away because every time you touch this thing, it's going to swing at you and make you really react to it. So that's why we're speaking with Brad today. Now, can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in the martial arts and how you came up with this idea for the bag?
Sure thing, Levi. First off, thank you for having me on your program.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. And let's get started on how it came about.
Sure.
So I grew up with Sensei Sean Harris. Some people will know he is an owner-operator of Kaizen Martial Arts Academy, formerly the Ed Parker Pasadena Martial Arts Academy. So he's a pretty high-end martial artist. Him and I are about the same age. We both do karate. We both play soccer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, I'm able to play 2 soccer games back-to-back, running like no problem. You know, he's huffing and puffing a little bit. Now we go and fight karate. He's able to go through the whole dojo, not even reaching for a sip of water. I'm, sweating, trying to keep from throwing up on the mat. So what's going on? I think I'm in better shape, but obviously I'm not. So I do some research, and one of Bruce Lee's books, The Tao of Jeet Kune Do, I read in there. He talks about something called neurophysiological adjustment. The concept that muscles do not guide themselves, but yet the mind that guides them. And this leads me to try to create a product that accurately simulates sparring, some sort of randomness. It's not about the jab or the cross or the hook, but it's about knowing when to throw each one of those tools so that you can reach into your toolbox and access the quickest one or the most accurate one quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I decide I need to come up with a product that does this. One day, it's straight like out of Back to the Future, man. It's the, what do they call it, the flux capacitor moment. One day, I have an idea. Oh, I know how to do this. So I run down to Home Depot, and I get the string and the foam and some weights, and I put these weights at the bottom of this foam thing and hang it up. My friend's watching, and I hit it. Comes back, hits me in the balls, boom, I'm on the ground. Everybody's laughing at me, and that's how the first coordination punching bag was invented. So from then on out, it was a research project. The first thing I did was put the weights inside the foam so that it won't hurt you when it swings back. And then, it took over 2 years of development. I sent it around to all the top martial artists, developing more weights, less weights, different kinds of coating on the wire, different kinds of foam, trying to get it to move as accurately as possible to resemble a real person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I came up with the coordination bag, or the core bag.
What do you think the best fighters do? You said you did a lot of research into different training and training methodologies and different people's ways of training themselves.
So let me tell you about something called OODA loop theory,
mm-hmm.
and then you guys can apply it as you guys think it's appropriate. And this is a theory that's used by the Marines. I mean, it is absolutely high-end military tactician or whatever.
Yeah.
It's developed by a pilot named John Boyd. He's studying these planes, American versus the MiGs. I believe it's the Korean War. Okay. Our planes are shooting down more MiGs, even though the MiG is faster and stronger. So he is studying why are these inferior planes able to shoot down the superior plane. What he discovers is that in our cockpit, it's a full glass cockpit with hydraulic steering, versus the MiG. Their steering is manual, so the pilot has to force the joystick around. Also has a very small. So that pilot is in the plane. His mind is inside the plane, versus the American pilot. Their mind is in the battle space. It's outside. They see the plane in relationship to other planes and in relationship to the battle space, are more open-minded. And it comes back to what Sun Tzu said, the mind is the ultimate weapon. And so that's what Ulu orient, decide, and act. And the basic concept is the faster your brain moves, now we're bringing this back down to fighting level. The brain moves. You actually end up putting your opponent in the past. They start reacting to things that are no longer happening. You're already moving on to the next technique. You're setting them up. You're moving into this technique. They don't know what's going on. They're being confused, but because you can see faster. You see and react quicker. That's all about brain speed. That has nothing to do with how fast you can hit or jab. It has to do with how fast you can see and react. And that is the ultimate skill, is to build your brain speed, have a new reality that is literally time advanced in front of your opponent.
That makes a lot of sense. I never thought about it that way, just how fast you can process what's happening and what you're doing, and kind of like the chess game being a few moves ahead of the other person.
Absolutely. I mean, that's how Spider-Man and, without thinking. The new Batman movie's coming up, and, it's coordination that wins, not strength, assuming that everything goes to plan. But anyway.
Right. No, that's a good point. Let's see. Now, what do you think, or what are some of your favorite training materials or resources? Any books, DVDs, pieces of workout equipment? Of course, yours will be on this list, but is there anything else you'd like to add to the list that you think everybody should know about or train with?
My two favorite books are, one is by Lauren Christensen. It's called Solo Training, and it's actually popular enough, I think there's a solo training too. And then the book I referred to earlier, Bruce Lee's Tao of Jeet Kune Do. I think that's probably a fantastic book on martial arts, and it's definitely a good first step for any martial artist. It's, discusses many different styles and how they work together to complement each other. You could consider it the first MMA book, per se.
Right. No, those are both two good books. I have a review on YouTube of Solo Training, the first one. That was a really good one. I haven't read the second one, but you are right, there is a second one, and I think there's even DVDs for that series out.
Lauren Christensen was also nice enough to, he was actually one of the first people to, give me an endorsement for my coordination bag, so I'm always indebted to him.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. But his book, I recommended the book solely on its own merits.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you've heard of it. So.
Yeah, no, I've read it. It's a good book. Now, what's the best way to practice with the core bag? What are some best practices, maybe some workouts we could do with it?
Sure. Originally, there's two ways to use the bag. There's trying to land certain combos, the same way that you'd use a heavy bag. I'm going to work on my jab, cross, hook combo, or what have you, hook, leg kick, etc. So that you go in there knowing what you're going to do and you're working on it, and it moves around, so it's always going to be somewhere different. It's going to provide that realism of a moving opponent, so that way you're not just hitting a static jab cross. But then the second way to do it is to approach it more like you would a fight, more like a spar, where you don't know what you're going to do. And you're just always searching to do the proper technique. Sometimes you have to leg check to block it. Sometimes you got to elbow it. Could be in close. You might have to use your footwork, move around it. And that's the other way to use it, is just really open your mind and try to expand your creativity and really try to come up with new things that you might not have practiced and might not have thought about. Because sometimes those random moments and the moves you didn't think of are the ones that can win or surprise during the competition.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's one of the things I like. I haven't used your device yet, but I'm definitely going to be buying one. But watching it when people are playing with it at the conventions or whatever, I guess it was, and they're moving around, and it just surprises them. You can see that moment of shock, which is more like a real fight where you can't just do your combination like you would against a heavy bag and everything's going to land. You've got to have these plan Bs and be able to block the counters off every shot in your combination.
Right, and that's the real secret, is that the other products have elastic. They all weigh the same. No matter how you string them together, once you start hitting them, they're going to react like a jump rope. You're going to figure it out. Most people aren't stupid. They see how it swings. They know when to punch. And this thing really shocks you and surprises you by design. And that's what keeps you honest. It keeps you, And that's where, Bruce Lee again talks about, sorry, but that guy's the expert. I quote him a lot, but anyhow. He talks about, my fist punches by itself. And that's really what it is. You're watching the bag, you're watching for that opportunity. Boom, you hit it so fast, you didn't even know you saw it. That's a skill that's going to translate into the ring. Just being able to react instantaneously. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is your best advice mentors ever gave you about anything, life, business, martial arts, just any advice you feel everybody should know?
It's honesty. You got to be honest with yourself, and you can't live for other people, and you can't fool yourself. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes you think certain emotions, certain thought patterns. You think good things, and they turn out not to be real. You have to be able to adjust to that instantaneously. And how that plays out, for this simple fighting way, is then you're not trying to hit things that are too far away, or you're not trying to overpower a guy that's stronger than you. It lets you see what's really going on and lets you adjust. Sometimes you're used to maybe winning on the ground, but this guy's better than you are. You need to adjust your game plan instantaneously. You got to be honest. Oh, wow, I didn't expect this guy to be so fast or so agile, so I'm going to do this now. There's always another plan with martial arts. There's always another counter. Every move has its yin and yang, and it's the ability to see that and be honest with yourself and react that allows you to react with the proper move, and that just plays out. That's just how you got to work it in life too. Otherwise, you'll end up in the wrong relationships or in the wrong places. But when you're honest and you do what's good, those things are going to work out for you.
Oh, that's really good advice. Yes. I mean, you always have to be honest with where you are in life and what you're doing, whether it's a fight or business or anything. And, you don't want to make it worse than it is, but you really got to understand where exactly you are if you're going to be able to get to where you want to be in anything.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. All right, well, thank you for speaking with us today, Brad.
Well, it's been my pleasure, and I've had a fantastic time. I wish you guys all the best, and good training to everybody out there.
Thanks.